It was my first visit to the marvelous city in Rio de Janeiro was during the 2016 Olympic Games. I've since returned 9 times safely without any major problems from the public. Rio is beautiful, but at the same time, Rio can be dangerous if you are unaware and uninformed about the culture and the karaoke way of life. All right? Remember, we are the foreigners, the gringos, right? People who get robbed typically leave with a negative view of Brazil, right? Otherwise, once you come to Rio once, you will most likely want to come again and again. So, this is the reason why I wrote my travel guide, so that you can get insight from a veteran's perspective, right? I started traveling internationally when I was 18 back in 1998. And, there's some mannerisms, right? Some tactics, some tips that I can share with you in my book to prevent. I was watching a YouTube video of one of the YouTubers, one of the passport bros who went down in Brazil, and he was talking about how he was walking along the beach, and he was video recording, and the guy, he ordered the drink, Capiringa, and when the guy served him the drink, he said that the guy told him, you might want to be careful with that camera, put that camera away. And he was like, well, he felt like he was big and he was strong, and not saying that he was arrogant, but he just felt like he can handle the situation, I'm sure. And then, fast forward, of course he was drinking, right? So he said he was a little bit tipsy, and later on he was approached by some ladies, and he said they greeted him and very kind, exchanged numbers or exchanged information, and gave him a kiss, and he also mentioned that his friend that he was with was was kind of like red flag, was trying to get away from the situation. But he said he kind of was just going along with the flow. He was a little bit tipsy, whatnot. But long story short, a few moments later, he discovered that they had taken the camera. And he said this camera was about $400, $500 camera. And the moral of the story is that, he received warnings, but he admitted that this was his first trip to Brazil, so therefore he was an amateur, right? He was unfamiliar with the culture. All right, now you can take pictures here and there, but to walk around with your camera is exposing people who are out there with their families. They may be on foreign dignitaries away on a vacation with this with his whoever, you never know who you're out here, with these cameras. Like, you are spies. Basically, you're spies. You're taking out there, you're recording information, you're putting it all over the internet for the world to judge. And this is not good diplomacy. And this is the reason why, if we don't get this information out, it can be detrimental to the African American men as a collective group, because we are ambassadors when we go abroad. When people encounter us, we don't just represent ourselves, we represent the people who look like us. And this is natural and obvious. And so this was the reason why I feel like, I felt the responsibility to produce some content that not only encourages people to get their get their passports and go explore the world, but also realize that there's a international mindset that you must have when you do so. This is not something that's for everyone. This is the reason why the knowledge of the tree of life is guarded, right? You have to adhere to a certain principles or commandments, right? You know what I mean? Depends on the language you like to adhere to. But the point what I'm trying to make is that my travel guide helps prevent incidents like that. And we do this by actually behaving like ambassadors or diplomats, right? We want to go and we want to give so that there is no necessity to rob. And we want to be inconspicuous. We don't want to be drawing attention to ourselves like we're some type of, what are you, a celebrity? If you bring that type of light to yourself, then you're going to bring the interest of those people who are amidst the crowds, right? Who are government officials, agents, locally and abroad, gangsters. And I'm not talking about, neighborhood gangbangers. I'm talking about real men who run large organizations like communities that we call favelas, but those are communities ran by a system of illicit opportunists. And, people are hungry. So some things are necessary for people to eat and to be able to survive. So we don't want to be out here looking like a lick because, once you experience this negative, a lot of times it distorts, the whole Brazilian experience, because I find it to be one of the most wonderful experiences of my life. And I've been to over 20 different places in this planet and different countries, and many of which several times. Places as wonderful as even Egypt or Rome or Belize, Mesoamerica. These things are significant in their own right, and they serve different purposes. But Rio de Janeiro, right, with basic street smart, is safe enough for anyone to visit at least once, right? So the people in Rio de Janeiro are generally welcoming and kind, and their culture is truly fantastic, all right? Everything seems to taste a little bit better in Brazil. The fruit seems sweeter. The beef seems to taste more flavorful. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean the grass is always greener on the other side of the equator, right? Brazil is a place rich with art in the midst of the perfect natural ambience, but you will find that a lot of that art is graffiti. Graffiti everywhere. And some of the graffiti art is absolutely skilled, and some is just everywhere, right? So, I like to give you a balanced viewpoint so that you can distinguish the fantastic from the realistic. You understand? All right. So there are very beautiful, courageous mountains and rivers, lagoons, the samba music playing in the background, the vibrant nightlife in Lapa, and of course, the most beautiful people you probably ever see. Most notably, the women, right? So I can't imagine a more naturally inviting place, and yet, you must be aware Brazil does have its ugly dark side, right? Even the ladies can flip on you, right? So you have to know how to carry yourself and how to move, all right? And the stereotypes and the favelas. I found that they are full of the kindest, most humble people that you will ever meet, right? And I am aware that mass poverty is among our kin, right? People who look like us, our brothers, our sisters, and cousins, and they are hungry and desperate, and we know that breeds illicit opportunists, right? Thieves, right? So, if you want to go down flexing, you go at your own risk, and if you want to avoid that, you might want to choose some other options, right? All right, so my travel guide to Rio de Janeiro is to help you leave with the best possible experience for you, all right? And I want to help first-time travelers, guys who have never been, particularly guys who have never been internationally or traveled abroad internationally before. I want to kind of give you some insight to the mind frame of an international travel, because it's not like just going to Miami and just wilding out and taking videos on the street. You actually really got to be aware of the language barrier, the cultural differences, right? So that you don't get got. All right. So, visit blackswanradio.com or blackswantv.org, and you can scroll down to where you see Black Swan travel guides, and you can preview and purchase or order directly from my site and continue to support my channel and my cause. Thank you for listening. Until next time, peace.